Hi, my name is Ralf Schumacher and welcome to the final race in Hockenheim.
Yes, it is the 10th and final round. It all started at Hockenheim in May. It finishes here again at the German Grand Prix venue. So this is the final showdown. England versus Germany, Mercedes-Benz versus Audi, Paffett versus Schneider. So, two of the most experienced men in the DTM going head-to-head for their second DTM title. For Schneider, it could be 2 in a row. And if success crosses his path, he'll become only the second man in DTM history to put together back-to-back championships. And as you would expect, we've crunched the numbers. Gary has to finish first or second to take the title, with Timo 6th or worse. So the odds are very much on the man from the Eiffel Mountains, unless he has a shocker in the race. Some big names here too. To enjoy the final showdown, Nicky Lauda you saw, Keke Rosberg, Boris Becker, Sebastian Vettel and others. But let's check out the track with Ralf Schumacher.
Hello, my name is Ralf Schumacher and I try to guide you through a lap through the Hockenheim racetrack. Well, we started at start-finish line, obviously. We reached the first turn with roughly 230 kilometers. It's in the 5th gear corner, just a little lift off and then through into the first real braking point, down into the 2nd gear, which is really important turn for the acceleration for the very long straight following. And then we have a real heavy braking from like 270 kilometers per hour into the 1st gear. It's a real stop and go hairpin, where again a long acceleration phase is following, so the exit is again important, not to be overtaking. Going into the Mercedes-Benz area and braking down to the 2nd gear from like 260 again. This is a pretty tricky corner, it's little grip, and if you overdo it you end up outside and lose a lot of time. Then again another 3rd gear corner, nothing too exciting, and then we enter the Motordrome area via a 4th gear, very quick right-hander into the stadium corner, which is 180 degrees and very easy to miss the braking points, lock it and end up in a gravel. Again, one overtaking point, and the atmosphere is great simply due to all the spectators you have. You follow through the last 2 corners basically, upshift in the 3rd gear and keep the 3rd gear for the last 2 corners onto the start finish line, and you try to take all the speed again through to have a real good lap time.
So let's check out the qualifying. There was a bit of a desperate moment when Gary Paffett came out just in front. Let's see it again. Just in front of Timo Schneider. However, after looking at it, the steward said it was acceptable, but only just. So here they are, both at the wheel. On the left, Gary Paffett, Timo Schneider with the Super Mario figures on his crash helmet on the right there. Final 4 shootout, and Schneider was looking very good indeed for that pole position. Goes purple in the middle section, stops the clocks at 1:32.613. But what about Paffett? Here is his response, and just a fraction quicker, he takes the provisional pole, but there was still one more man to come, the man who was so cruelly robbed of victory here in May. And yes, Matthias Ekstrom, the cool Swede, was really flying, and he was heading towards his 3rd pole position of the year, and Ekstrom takes the pole. So Audi were happy with that. Timo Schneider would start in 3rd position, and we asked him if he was happy with starting on the 2nd row.
Yeah, definitely. So I think the target was to be in the first 3 rows, and we managed it quite good. And my performance was okay during the whole qualifying, especially in Q2. I had a proper lap, and afterwards it was okay as well, but not perfect. But all about, I have to say, P3 is a good position, and 200 behind Gary. That's good for the strategy tomorrow.
Yes, and of course on Sunday, Gary Paffett would be the man who had it all to do. Only a win or 2nd place would perhaps help him to the title.
You know, with the 10 kilos more than the Audis today, it was going to be tough, and we've proved we've got a very good car, and that's the best for everything. The whole team is just to add the confidence that we have a good car, and tomorrow in the race we're going to have a chance. You know, we had a chance of being on pole position today. My lap in Q4 wasn't perfect, so we had some time to improve there. And you know, just to be at the front is important. Timo is also very fast. He's just behind me on the grid. If we want to win the championship, the gap has to be bigger, but it's up to Timo what he does tomorrow, really. So, yeah, we just have to do as good a job as we can tomorrow, finish first or second, and then see what Timo does. So.
And what about Matthias Ekstrom? The double DTM champion has gone all season without a win, but happy to start on the pole.
I mean, I had already a very good start to the Saturday in the free practice. When we unloaded the car from the truck, it was quick straight away, and we're quickest in the free practice, quickest lapping in qualifying 3, and then able to make, with a reasonable good lap, pole position in Q4. So I'm really satisfied and happy for the whole team. It was my 14th pole position of my DTM career, so now finally the 13 is scrubbed away. And tomorrow I really hope that the 13th victory becomes the 14th, that maybe that turns the luck from bad to good.
The dramatic DTM showdown attracted 155,000 motorsport fans and also a host of VIPs. Boris Becker, this is Eva Padberg. She's the German model. I've become addicted here. I've been in the race taxi, and it really makes you an adrenaline junkie. I think it's fantastic. Super atmosphere being here and having a lot of fun. Also having fun, Wimbledon and tennis legend Boris Becker. He was going to have a ride round in a DTM race taxi. Just managing to get himself into the C-class there. And then off he goes with Bert Maylander at the wheel. Maylander, of course, the man who drives the pace car for Formula One. Boris said it was unbelievably fast. You can't eat or drink anything beforehand, or it'll just all come back at you. But I have actually done this a couple of times before, and every time it's fascinating. Well, in Hockenheim, Tom Christensen was contesting his 60th and final DTM race. From now on, he's going to specialise in sports car racing, so lots of presentations for Tom, including that wonderful Jim Bamber cartoon.
Leaving DTM, it's one eye you are crying a little bit, because obviously over this season with Audi, I've gained a lot of friends, especially the very close working relationship with the mechanics, the engineers. So in DTM is all about fans. So in that sense, I will for sure miss some of that.
Let's check out the grid, and remember, of course, Tom won the first round of the series in May. There's Gary Paffett getting ready. Tall order for him, and he knows that, well, this man, Timo Schneider, really just has to follow him to take the title, but so much can happen in the DTM. The man in the silver jacket, of course, the most successful DTM driver of all time, Bert Schneider, just coming to say farewell to Tom as we check out the grid, and his third pole position of the year, Matthias Ekstrom. Alongside him, championship contender Gary Paffett for Mercedes-Benz. Timo Schneider hoping to make it 2 championships in a row. Paul di Resta, he'll back up Paffett. Then Tom Christensen, 5th in his final start. Oliver Jarvis, best of the 08 cars, rounding out a great season. Martin Tomczyk and Miro Engel, good performance from him in a year-old car. Then Jamie Green, Mike Rockenfeller, one of his best qualifying performances. Ralf Schumacher, 11th, Alexandra Prema alongside him. Marcus Winkelhock and Catherine Legg. Then Bruno Spengler and Suzie Stoddart. Spengler obviously very disappointed with that. Lauda and Koska, and at the back, Christian Backerud and Johannes Seidlitz. So here they are on the warm-up lap. And although rain had threatened, in fact it was quite a bright morning, and the sun shining down for the 2 o'clock start here. 4.574 kilometres, this circuit, the revised Hockenheim circuit, of course. Grandstands packed, the Audi flags waving, and a great atmosphere, anticipation, and of course an explosive start expected. What would happen here? The tension was certainly high in the pits. There's DC alongside Norbert Haug. And 5 lights, they go out. Who gets the best bite? Paffett getting a good start. Look at Schneider on the outside. And is Schneider going to go all the way around? No, he has to drop in. Ekstrom, then Paffett. A couple of tight turns coming up early in the lap. Ekstrom in the lead. Everyone round that first corner. Let's have another look at it. Possibly a bit of wheel spin, I should say, from Ekstrom. Schneider gets alongside him. And there we see the view from Timo Schneider's car. Schneider round the outside and out over the rumble strip.
I did start with a little bit of wheel spin, but it was okay to stay in front of Gary. And I was really happy to see after some corners that I were in front after the first corner. And then going out on the back straight, I expected Timo to be on my side, but he wasn't. So in the end, I ended in my grass by myself. And after this, I had some really cool laps with Gary.
Yeah, it'll get a bit physical. Look at this. And side by side now, and a bang! And there, Ekstrom right out of the grass, and Gary nudging him aside. And Gary Paffett, well, he certainly hasn't given up on his championship hopes here. And this is Schneider's view, and bang again!
I know Gary, he's a really hard fighter, that is me, and I'm sure I would have done the same like he did. I was not expecting that he would give me a punch that ended on the grass, but everything else was like I know him.
I was very determined to win this race. I had to do it to be able to give myself any chance of winning the championship. So any opportunity I had to get past Matthias, I took. And we had a pretty tense battle, yeah, for a few laps.
Well, it certainly looks tense here. Paffett with the orange nose in the lead. And Ekstrom just giving a bit of a nudge there into the hairpin. And a spinner there, and Tom Christensen goes around. Oh, look at this, bang! Don't get any closer than that. There's that Winkelhock spinning in the Playboy car.
On the first lap today, I mean, down at the hairpin, was a lot of cars together, and I'm hit very hard from behind. And the car spins around, there's no chance and to save the car. It has some damage, but the car is very good prepared from up, and it still worked really well. And I was able, even with a damaged car, to crawl back and had some nice fights.
So, race order on the first lap. Paffett leading from Ekstrom, Schneider, Jarvis Willer, then De Resta. Ralf Schumacher apparently involved in that incident, and he is limping somewhere around the lap. Well, Paffett's doing everything he can do, and Schneider will be happy there in third place. Riding shotgun behind him, another friendly Audi of Oliver Jarvis. And then De Resta would like to get stuck in amongst them to try and help Gary Paffett in the stadium section here. The flags wave. Paffett doing everything he can in this V8 460 horsepower Silhouette Formula. Fantastic C-Class Mercedes-Benz. Schumacher down in 9th, Spengler in 10th. Lauder 11th, Stoddart in 12th. Rockenfeller's dropped well back, must have made a poor start. And Martin Tomczyk. Tomczyk is out. That's the end of his season. And also looks as if Ralf Schumacher's out. He's lost the bonnet. This is how it happened. Flipped up and out it went. And there's a nice souvenir for that, Marshall.
Well, I mean, after an incident in the first corner, which I mean, isn't DTM normal because there's very close fighting going on, I just ripped part of my front nose off the car, and I saw it basically being very loose already, so I thought that I was going to lose it anyway. When it came off, it took off some of the electric safety parts as well, and then basically it died out, and that was it for the race.
That was it for the race, the end of Ralph's second season, and yet to make the podium in 20 DTM races. And look at this, Ekstrom down the inside, fighting wheel to wheel with Paffett, all to help Schneider in his title hopes. So Ekstrom leads now. Gary Paffett second, Timo Schneider in third place. The two championship contenders, second and third. Paul di Resta in fourth place. Winkelhock has moved in front of Oliver Jarvis. And there, a replay on the pass. Nice clean one from the Red Bull back car. Back in the stadium once more. Goodness me, look at that! Ekstrom is pulling off into the pits. This is before the pit stop window. He must have a problem. Well, that makes it a little bit easier for Gary Paffett. And now it's two Mercedes ganging up. And there you see the reason. Somehow the radiator's been punctured and water and steam spraying out of it. Must have been in one of those incidents. Looks as if it's this one. Just something sharp at the back of the Mercedes-Benz, puncturing the Audi radiator. And so Ekstrom goes through the whole of 2009 without a victory. So Paffett, therefore, back in the lead. Here's Winkelhock attacking Jarvis. Good battle going on between them. Both in 08 cars, but driving for rival satellite Audi teams. There's the top three. And here's this Winkelhock-Jarvis battle. And they swapped positions a couple of times already. And a little bit of a nudge from Jarvis to Winkelhock. So what can Gary Paffett do about winning this title? The answer is absolutely nothing more than he's doing. And his only hope, really, is that Schneider drops out of the race. A mechanical problem, but at the moment, A4 looking very strong indeed. Battles back down the field. From Christensen coming back up, passes Suzie Stoddart here at Hockenheim. And that was for 7th place. And here Tom late on the brakes. Suzie, the girl from Oban, though, just goes briefly through, but carrying a bit too much speed. And can Tom get back again? And it was just jinxing out there to get past. But look at Schneider. He'd like to take the championship with a victory. And hounding down Gary Paffett. Paffett versus Schneider. Gary with 3 wins this season. Schneider with 2. The air horns go off. The fireworks are at the ready for later on. Pit stops then, always a part of DTM. And here comes Gary Paffett. Right on his marks, the pressure's on those 15 men. 20 litres of fuel goes in, and all looks as if they'd practiced that so many times before. Absolutely beautiful, 3.4 seconds. And Gary back in the race. For now, drops down the field a little bit. You can see that various others down the field have made their pit stops. Winkelhock, Spengler, Jarvis, Rockenfeller and the like. And here, Christian Baccarat in one of the 07 cars. Having a problem with the window. But I don't think that'll hamper him much. And there, Engel muscling his way through. And not quite doing so, actually, against Mike Rockenfeller. And another of the college cars in problems. It's a teenager, Seidlitz, raced in single-seaters in Britain last year. Here's Timo Schneider, and he peels off for his pit stop, first of the two. And again, pressure very much on the team. Abt Motorsport, of course, running this car. And there he is. Watch the clock. The matte black car is dispatched in 3.2 seconds, leaving black lines as it goes on the fabulous sounding V8 motor. The rest are also in and out at the same time. Pramar staying out, taking a little bit of glory, leading the race from Jamie Green at the moment. Christensen all the way up to fourth place. There's Jamie Green with the green mirrors. There is Gary Paffett, and I'm sure when Paffett catches Green, well, he'll leave a bit of a gap for him to dive by. So I'm sure that in the Audi garage, hearts are in their mouths. They just know that this black car has to keep running and running for another 50 minutes or so. And then the championship will be theirs. Audi going for a third straight win. And no one has done that before in DTM history. There is a separate teams championship, and it's based on the various garages, cars paired up, as a good battle continuing here with Christensen, and Paul di Resta goes past Christensen. Tom, at 42, the oldest man in the DTM, announced some months ago that he wouldn't continue, going to concentrate on sports car racing, the endurance racing from here on in. And some nice replays here. And there is Paul di Resta, the man from Edinburgh, pushing hard. So far, a nice clean race. We had a bit of bumping and boring and barging in the opening lap or two, and of course Ekstrom came out the worst from that. But now we've got a good clean fight here. Paffett goes back into the lead as Pramar comes in. The car with the gold trimmings. The Frenchman had a bit of a shocker of the season, to be honest. Scored his first points just at the previous race in Dijon. What a success that was, with a huge crowd, another massive crowd on hand here. And yes, you might see a few empty seats in the grandstand, but remember, the grandstands here at Hockenheim hold over 200,000 people. Paffett and Timo Schneider then, the two championship contenders. On board again with Tom Christensen as he chases down Matthias Lauda. Lauda's father here, Nicky, to watch the fun. Also saw another former Formula One world champion here, Keke Rosberg. Apparently Sebastian Vettel's in Hockenheim somewhere. And a bit of a lock up there from Lauda, and he loses a place. So Gary Paffett, the man from Havenhill in Suffolk, trying everything he knows to try and take this title. A couple of races ago they thought it would all be done and dusted before Hockenheim, but Dijon changed all that, where Audi had a terrible weekend. Mercedes got back a lot of the lost ground. What about this man, Timo Schneider? As we have a replay here of the Lauda and TK battle. Lauda outbraking himself, TK nips through. And you see it from another angle. Meanwhile, we're back at the front. There's Gary Paffett. And there was the man I was talking about before the replays, Timo Schneider. 7 years in the DTM, mainly driving for Opel, without a victory. All came good at the start of last year. Went on to win the title, came to Hockenheim with just 2 points to spare, and took the title there from Paul de Resta a year ago. And Schneider, a man who's also pretty handy on a motorbike, on Supermoto category, as we go for the second pit stops. Runs in the German Championship. His girlfriend, soon-to-be wife, Jasmine, is also a former motorsport competitor, and her father was a top superbike rider in Germany, so very much a motorsport family. Here is Gary Paffett. He comes in, and away he goes. 3.1 seconds, good pit stop for Paffett. But remember, all Schneider has to do is just shadow Paffett, and the title will be his. Some other lesser battles going on, of course, for the best 08 car, and at the moment that is Prema. Tied up on his stops, and what can the app team do with him? Dispatch him in 3.3 seconds, that's good enough. Here comes Paffett, and Paffett continues in the lead as Schneider comes out. So it's the status quo here, with both pit stops done and dusted for those two. Tom Christensen comes in for his last DTM pit stop, and of course many more to come at places like Sebring and Le Mans. Look at his face on the bonnet of the car. Nice touch from Audi. Tom Christensen, held in great respect by the Audi management. Of course, he's won most of his 8 Le Mans victories for them. Paffett, Timo Schneider, de Resta, Prema, Spengler. Spengler has come up well. Winkelhock, Jarvis, Green, Rockenfeller, Engel. That's the top 10 here at Hockenheim. And here's a battle with 3 of the year-old cars. The specification for 2010 for the DTM is frozen, so the difference between the year-old cars and the current cars won't be so big next season. That might make for some very interesting racing. And there TK goes past that pink Mercedes again, and Suzie Stoddart answers back, but TK's got the inside line. And Suzie goes over the rumble strips. Lauda just in the background behind them. And this for 11th, 12th and 13th place now. Suzie had hoped to get a point or 2 out of the season, but sadly that wasn't to be. And it looks as if she won't redress that situation today, running there down in 12th place. And there Paffett with that couple of second lead. 2.4 it is now over Timo Schneider. There's Paul de Resta. And Paul de Resta holding 3rd place. And what about Alexandra Prema? The 2008 Le Mans Endurance Champion. He shared that title with his co-driver, Mike Rockenfeller. What a bit of bumping and barging going on here with Winkelhock involved. And just behind Bruno Spengler, we've got this battle going on for the honour of the 2nd best 08 car. Of course, Prema is already in front of them. Great shot down there from the helicopter. So the laps are ticking away. Here we can see another overtaking manoeuvre from the helicopter. And that is Oliver Jarvis then. And yet again he goes past Winkelhock. And Jamie Green mixed in with that. Jamie, of course, had that great victory at the Norris Ring, certainly the most exciting DTM race of the season, around the streets there of Nuremberg. This is the championship prediction if it stays the way it is. Timo Schneider will have 64, Paffett 59, and De Resta will come home third in the title chase, with Bruno Spengler in fourth place. Bruno, another of the 09 drivers not to score a win this year. Oh dear, Suzie Stoddart has had a big accident. Look at that. Look at the rear of the car, and already officials in attendance there. We can see what happens. I took a big cut on the apex, lost it coming out, lost rear adhesion onto the gravel, and bang, very hard indeed into the tyres. So not the way Suzie Stoddart had hoped to end the season, in a big shunt. I think Susie's just a little bit shaken. And there you see the car sliding on that tarmac and then finally onto the gravel, slowing it down, but not enough to stop rear-ending into the barriers there. Well, even the Audi crew were disappointed. There's Jürgen Matthias from Mercedes-Benz, well, from the HWA organisation. Susie from Oban in Scotland climbs out of the car, and that brings out a safety car for now.
Everything is fine with me. It was a shame to end the race this way. We were quick and we had a very good race against Tom Christensen. We touched a couple of times, and I think from our contact I damaged my rear suspension, and when I came off the curb at turn 1, the rear suspension broke and I then hit the wall pretty hard, but I'm fine.
So there's Stoddart's car, and well, from what we've heard, apparently the rear suspension snapped as she rode over that curb. Well, this closes everyone up, of course. The final 6, could be 5 laps to the finish. And will Timo Schneider make a big move and try and win the championship in a blaze of glory by taking a victory? Or will he just cool it a little bit and follow Gary Paffett to the flag and, of course, to the title? There they both are at the wheel. And, of course, there's always the question that Paul De Resta might try some act of absolute sheer brilliance and try and get past the pair of them to finish his season on a victory. Paul, of course, who won at Brands Hatch earlier in the year. So everyone weaving as ever to get some temperature into the tyres. Norbert Haug and their Audi management getting ready for these final few laps. The pace car does pull off. And away they go, and it seems to be a clean start. Timo Schneider is thinking of that championship. No acts of daring do from him. He's just going to follow Gary Paffett as these final 4 laps are reeled off. And then he will become only the second man in the history of the DTM to put together back-to-back titles. A little bit of a lock-up there from Paul De Resta. Bert Schneider, the only other man to do back-to-back titles in the DTM. Paffett, Timo Schneider, Paul De Resta, Pramath still there in 4th place, Spengler in 5th, Jarvis 6th, Green 7th, and Winkelhock in 8th position. Early retirements, of course, from Tom Chick and Ralf Schumacher and Ekstrom. All the cars now closed up back together. There's Rockenfeller going through in the S-Line Audi. There's Pramath, who's broken away a little bit from the pursuing pack headed by Spengler and Jarvis. And a British driver certainly to the fore here. 1, 2, 3, 4 in the top 7. stadium section. The flags continue to wave. Audi have brought a lot of employees along today to cheer on their drivers. And currently the gap just 0.9 of a second. So are we going to have some sensational finish? Or is Timo Schneider, the man for the Eiffel Mountains, who now lives in Austria, just going to stroke it home in second place to take that title? Go on board with Timo Schneider. Has been cool, calm, collected throughout the weekend. Has been focused, and here he is, right up the boot of Gary Paffett. And now just look at the gap, 0.2 of a second on the final 3 laps of this 10-race schedule of the DTM. And Rockenfeller just getting a bit racy there. Still a battle going on between this group down there for 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. There's Green with the green mirrors, being chased by Jarvis. In fact, Green in 5th place, ahead of Jarvis. Two laps to go between the man in 2nd place and the championship. Well, this will mean that Gary Paffett, if it stays like this, will have scored 4 victories over the season. Mercedes will have scored 6 wins in total to Audi's 4, and of course just the 2 for Timo Schneider. But this championship's also about consistency as well. And it was all a little bit closer. Look at Oliver Jarvis there going past Spengler, and then Jamie Green dipping past the pair of them.
We were at the end of the race after the safety car, and Bruno was struggling a little bit for speed, and I thought if Oliver makes a move on Bruno, maybe I can benefit from that, and that's exactly what happened. I read the situation well, had a good exit, and managed to overtake 2 of them in 1 move, so it was ideal.
Here we are then on the last 2 laps, and still action down the pack. Oh! Christensen goes around, and I think he received some help there from Matthias Lauda. And I'm told the stewards are investigating Lauda's move. He may get a penalty for that. Not the way Tom wanted to end his DTM career. Thanks, Tom, but no thanks to Lauda for that. And, well, he's just going to cruise in to retire right near the end of this race. And we can see it again from up above. And right into his side goes Lauda in the red Sternback car. And here's yet another view. And just turned around by Lauda.
After the safety car, I was having a look at Maro Engel in the Mercedes. Gave a small gap. But then at the same time, I was then hit very hard from behind, and that broke the suspension. But still, I never give up. I finished. I drove the car, very damaged over the finish line, and there I made a donut, parked it. That's it.
On the very last lap, then, Gary Paffett heading towards his 4th victory of the season, but heading towards the championship. Timo Schneider. There is wife Jasmine, there is Gary's wife Lisa. And they're all waiting for this final lap to come towards the checkered flag. And Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich can smile because the championship is heading the way of Audi. And Norbert Haug, well, they've certainly given a good fight at Mercedes-Benz and will have won more races. But the title is heading the way of Timo Schneider. I'm sure he's listening to every noise of that car. I'm sure he's been doing that for several laps now. And all he has to do, of course, is follow that Mercedes C-Class in front into the third sector here. There's the white line indicating they're going into the third sector. Just the stadium section here. And the three of them equally spaced. Surely it can't go wrong now for Schneider. And look at them at Mercedes-Benz. And Gary Paffett is heading towards his fourth victory of the year. But that win will be overshadowed by Timo Schneider. Paffett wins. Schneider takes the championship. The fireworks go off. Paul di Resta finishes in third place. Jamie Green and Primat fourth. Jamie Green fifth. Celebrations here at Audi. And the emotion finally comes out with Timo Schneider. And there, confirmation of the result. And sixth place, Oliver Jarvis. Seventh, Bruno Spengler. Eighth, the final point scorer, Winkelhock. And then the rest of the field there.
Yeah, it was quite a good race. We came this weekend trying to get third in the championship, but we came in with the maximum approach we had, and thankfully we came away with the third place. It was a bit disappointing not being able to get the win, to go out the season on a high, but we must be happy with our achievements.
And let's check out those points. Timo Schneider winning the title with 64 points. Gary Paffett coming up some 5 points shy with 59. Paul di Resta, runner-up last year, third this year with 45. Bruno Spengler, 41. Ekstrom also on 41. Martin Tomczyk, he had a win at the Nürburgring with 35. Jamie Green, 27. Tom Christensen on 21. In ninth place in his second season of the DTM, Oliver Jarvis, and then Marcus Winkelhock. He came at 10th. Ralf Schumacher, 11th. Lauro Engel, 12th. Primat, 13th. Mike Rockenfeller, 14th. Lauda, Stoddart, then Koska, Legg, Backerud and Seidlitz. They didn't score any points.
I'm really happy, we've won, I've now won 4 races this year, twice as many as anybody else, so we did everything we could today. We came here not expecting to win the championship. There was a chance, but it was a slim chance, so we came here to try and win the race, and that's what we did. We gained a few points on Timo, but not enough. Finished 5 points behind him in the end, but second in the championship is good, but I think our performance this year, I think we have to be very happy. Winning 4 races is incredible.
And there he is, Helio Castro-Neves style, Tony Stewart style, on the fence. Timo Schneider celebrating his second successive DTM success. And finding it a bit difficult to get down after all that. I'm sure the fans are enjoying it. And certainly the team will be celebrating long into the night. Hans-Jürgen Abt there in the middle. Also his brother Christian Abt. And there that Super Mario figure on the crash helmet. And nice to see that the two championship contenders embrace. Great camaraderie amongst these DTM drivers. And they wave to the fans. And now I suspect that Timo is going to climb onto the car. And there he goes. And onto the roof of the A4. And this man knows how to celebrate. And of course there's been suggestions that after this race he'll get married to his long-time partner, Jasmine Robato, who certainly promised it. And there's Jasmine jumping up and down for joy. And, well, it's been a long, long, hard road for Timo Schneider until last year, because he dropped out of the DTM for a year, then came back, and Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich put faith in him, and that faith has certainly been repaid over these last 2 seasons.
It's an amazing feeling. It's quite difficult to describe my feelings right now. I just know that we have done something amazing today, and we have done a special year after a tricky beginning of the season. We are fighting back for the end or for the middle of the season, and then we managed to be on the front in the championship again. And today we managed to win the championship. That's something crazy and something special. After last year, to defend the title is a great feeling, but it's quite difficult to describe it.
And there they are up on the podium. And the trophies handed out here. The Prime Minister of the region. And let's hear now from Mercedes boss Norbert Haug.
I think it was a tremendous effort from Gary, really. His first lap, I mean, this is really remarkable. One of the best races, best touring car races ever. He scored alone as many victories as all the Audi drivers together. We had 6 in total, Audi had 4 in total. We won the team championship, which is the same here as the Constructors' World Championship in Formula 1. Obviously not a World Championship, but a very important one for the team. And we had really great results. And
now the podium for the champion. And a little emotion there from Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich. As we said, Timo Schneider dropped out of the DTM when Opel decided to leave the series. And certainly Schneider was in the wilderness for a while, had a year in FIA GTs. And of course he did, during this period, win a couple of Spa 24 hours and the Nürburgring 24 hours. But then Dr. Ulrich brought him back into the DTM. And Schneider has then really established himself as one of the top names. As we said, the breakthrough victory came early in last season. He went on to the championship success there. And again, this season has been just so consistent. As he said in his interview, a little wobble at the start, but since then he's oh dear, it's very slippy on that podium. Paul di Resta goes down on the slippy bubbly. But great scenes here, but certainly another very happy man is the boss of Audi, Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich.
I think that we can be really proud to have done the triple championship, which is for the very first time since DTM exists, twice with Timo Schneider. And I think Timo made it happen himself today. He was very strong, constant. He kept him out of troubles, going a good pace. He had a team behind him that made perfect pit stops. And he was just concentrated and dedicated to make it. And he made it at the end again. And he can be proud in that. And with all the racing around, I think it could maybe have been a victory for Matthias Ekstrom as well, but he was then in a hard infight and damaged his radiator, then losing water, so he couldn't finish again. It's the third time this race that he was in a situation to win a race and couldn't do it, but I know that next time he will be there and the bad luck of this year will be forgotten, and we are going to looking forward all together to have a nice celebration for Timo's second championship win in a row.
And they'd already printed up the T-shirts, as you can see. 070809 hat-trick for the A4 DTM. There's Hans-Jürgen Abt. Timo Schneider, DTM champion 2009.
Thanks for watching the race and hope to see you again next year.
So finally, let's check out the highlights here of what has been a great season of DTM racing and a terrific end with, of course, Timo Schneider scoring those victories. We had glum faces, we had smiley faces, we had overtaking, we had collisions, we had action all the way. But ultimately, the man who was on top of his game was Timo Schneider. Let's not forget a great performance either by Paul di Resta coming home third, and of course the man who won more races than anyone else, Gary Paffett of the UK. But crucially, Gary did not score as many points as Timo Schneider. So Schneider came home the winner of the championship for a second year running. And Timo Schneider is the 2009 DTM champion. And we're going to leave you with some images of this race to the flag. From me, Andrew Marriott, it's goodbye until next year.